Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. This is Gloria White, and I am coming to you from Utah, USA. Today I'm in the book of Acts in chapter 23 in the New Testament in the King James Version of the Holy Bible. Chapter 23. And Paul, earnestly beholding the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before God until this day. And the high priest Ananias commanded that them that stood by him to smite him or smack him on the mouth. Then Paul said unto him, God shall smack thee, thou white-walled or whitewashed, for sittest thou to judge me after the law or according to the law, and commandeth me to be smitten contrary to the law? And they that stood by said, Revileth thou God's high priest? Or do you revile God's high priest? Then Paul said, I wist not, I knew not, brethren, that he was the high priest, for it is written, Thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. But when Paul perceived that the one part were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out in the council, Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of the Pharisee, of the hope and resurrection, or concerning the hope and resurrection of the dead, I am called, or being judged in question. Called in question, or being judged. And when he had said so, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the multitude was divided, much like what's happening in our country right now. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. And there arose a great cry, and the scribes that were of the Pharisees part arose and strove or protested, saying, We find no evil in this man, but if a spirit or an angel hath spoken to him, let us not fight against God. And when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain or the commander, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down and to take him by force from among them, and to bring him into the castle or barracks. And the night following the Lord stood by him and said, Be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome. And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse or an oath, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. And there were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy or oath or plan. And they came to the chief priests and elders and said, We have bound ourselves under a great curse or oath, that we will eat nothing until we have slain Paul. Now therefore ye with the council signify or suggest to the chief captain or commander that he bring him down unto you tomorrow, or to and then morrow, which is now our tomorrow, as though he would inquire something more perfectly or further concerning him, and we, or ever he come near, or before he comes near, are ready to kill him. And when Paul's sister's son heard of their lying or their ambush in wait, lying in wait or ambush, he went and entered into the castle of the barracks and told Paul. Then Paul called one of the centurions unto him and said, Bring this young man unto the chief captain, for he hath a certain thing to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the chief captain, and said, Paul the prisoner called me unto him, and prayed or asked me to bring this young man unto thee, who hath something to say unto thee. Then the chief captain took him by the hand, and went with him aside privately, and asked him, What is that thou hast to tell me? And he said, The Jews have agreed to desire or ask thee that thou wouldest bring down Paul tomorrow into the council, as though they would inquire somewhat of him more perfectly or fully. But do not thou yield unto them, for there lie in wait for him of them more than 40 men, which have bound themselves with an oath that they will neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now are they ready, looking for a promise from thee. So the chief captain then let the young man depart, and charged him, See thou tell no man that thou hast showed these things to me, or revealed them. And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, Make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, or 70. A 60 would be 60. And spearmen 200, at the 3rd hour of the night. Now you know that the day starts at 6 in the morning. So the 3rd hour is at 9 o'clock, the 6th hour at 12, the 9th hour at 3, and then at 6 o'clock the night begins. So this is the 3rd hour of the night, which is 9 o'clock. And provide them beast, or beast. Provide them mounts or horses, that they may set Paul on, and bring him safe unto Felix the governor. And he wrote a letter after this manner: Claudius Lysias unto the most excellent governor Felix sendeth greetings. So Claudius is sending Felix greetings. This man, speaking of Paul, was taken of the Jews, and should have been killed of them, or would have been killed. Then came I with an army and rescued him, having understood that he was a Roman. He didn't know he was a Roman to begin with, did he? But he's not going to tell Felix that. And when I would have known the cause wherefore they accused him, I brought him forth into their council, whom I perceived to be accused of questions of their law, but to have nothing laid to his charge worthy of death, or bonds, or chains. And when it was told me how that the Jews laid wait for the man, I sent straightway to thee, and gave commandment to his accusers also to say before thee what they had against him. Farewell. And that's like the end, or your salutation. Then the soldiers, as it was commanded them, took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris. On the morrow they left the horsemen to go with him, and returned to the castle, or the barracks. Who, when they came to Caesarea and delivered the epistle to the governor, which is the letter that Claudius wrote, he asked of what province he was, and when he understood that he was a Cilicia, I will hear thee, said he, when thine accusers are also come. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's judgment hall, or praetorium. Chapter 24. And after 5 days, Ananias the high priest descended or came down with the elders and with a certain orator named Tertullus, who informed the governor against Paul, or gave evidence to the governor. And when he was called forth, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, "Seeing that by thee we enjoy great quietness or peace, and that," he's talking to Felix, "and that very worthy deeds are done unto this nation by thy province, or prosperity is being brought forth by your foresight. We accept it always and in all places, most noble Felix, with all thankfulness. Notwithstanding, that I be not further tedious unto thee, I pray thee that thou wouldest hear us of thy clemency a few words, or by courtesy. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow, or a plague of a fellow, and a mover or creator of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes, who also hath gone about to profane the temple, whom we took or seized, and would have judged according to our law. But the chief captain, Lysanias, came upon us, and with great violence took him away out of our hands, commanding his accusers to come unto thee, by examining of whom thyself mayest take knowledge of all these things whereof we accuse him." And that is, him yourself you may discern all these things. And the Jews also assented, saying that these things were so. Then Paul, after that the governor had beckoned, or nodded unto him to speak, answered. Now this is Paul speaking. "For as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself, because that thou mayest understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for to worship, and they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up the people or riling them up, neither in synagogues nor in the city. Neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the God of my fathers, believing all things that are written in the law and in the prophets, and have hope toward God, which they themselves also allow, or believe, or accept, that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and unjust. And herein, or this being so, I myself strive, I exercise myself," he's speaking up for himself, "to have always a conscience void or without offense toward God and toward men. Now after many years I came to bring alms to my nation and offerings, whereupon certain Jews from Asia found me purified in the temple, neither with multitude nor with tumult, who ought to have been here before thee, and object if they had aught against me, or anything against me. Or else these same here say, if they have found any evil doing in me, while I stood before the council, except it be for this one voice, or one voice statement, that I cried standing among them, touching or concerning the resurrection of the dead, I am called in question by you this day. I'm being judged by you this day. And when Felix heard these things, having more perfect knowledge of that way or understanding, he deferred them. No, Mommy, I don't want to pay right now. He adjourned the proceedings and said, when Lysias, the chief captain, shall come down, I will know the utterance of your matter, or make a decision on your matter. And he commanded a centurion to keep Paul, and to let him have liberty, and that he should forbid none of his acquaintance to minister or come unto him, to provide for Paul. And after certain days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewess, he sent for Paul, and heard him concerning the faith in Christ. And as he reasoned of righteousness, or about righteousness, temperance or self-control, and judgment to come, Felix trembled and was afraid, and answered, Go thy way for this time. When I have a convenient season or time, I will call for thee. He hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul, that he might loose him. Wherefore he sent for him to Ophner, and communed with him. But after 2 years, Porcius Festus came into Felix's room, and Felix, willing to show the Jews a pleasure, left Paul bound. So, that's the end of chapter 24. Next video will be chapter 25. We're fast approaching the end of the book of Acts. I hope you've enjoying this. And if you've missed the previous chapters, they're down below in the list. And I encourage you to go and listen if you haven't been following along. Thank you so much. I love you.